because I really am not receiving any money at the moment.
Ma'am, but you understand you do have another child that doesn't live with you, correct?
Correct.
She's not just choosing voluntarily not to work, and she's not getting paid.
And this is a suit for modification of support order and motion to confirm support arrearage. Counsel for Miss Cortez, can you state your name for the record, please?
Kara Mitchell, I'm counsel for Adriana Cortez.
There may be one stipulation, Judge Wood. I think we can agree that the child will be covered through TRICARE through Miss Adriana Cortez. So I do believe, from my understanding, that is a stipulation.
Okay.
Is that right? Mr. Martinez, do you agree with Miss Cortez covering your child through TRICARE?
Yes, ma'am.
And then Attorney Mitchell, if you could just confirm that.
That is the agreement.
At this time, I would like to call Miss Cortez. And ma'am, please state your name for the record.
Adriana Daisy Cortez.
And how old is she?
She's 17.
And there was a prior order signed by this court regarding an obligation of child support. Is that right?
Correct.
Judge, at this time, I would like to ask the court to take judicial notice of the prior order signed by this court February 25th, 2015, specifically the child support that was based off of minimum wage guideline support, just $179 per month starting March 1st, 2015. And I would also ask the court to take judicial notice in that same order that Ms. Cortez, well, I guess at this point it was already moot, that Ms. Cortez was supposed to maintain private health insurance through a private source.
Do you see that? And it looks like at the time there was one child before the court and Miss Cortez had 2 children. And there was also a judgment taken at that time of $18,355.59.
Ms. Cortez, since 2015, have you had any other minor children born to you?
Since 2015, I just had one last week.
And ma'am, that child does currently reside with you, is that right?
Yes.
At this time, where are you working?
The only employment that I have is with the National Guard, but I'm not getting paid through them right now. I'm just going through a drilling for points.
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
I'm not getting paid by them at the moment. It's just drilling for points.
And what does that mean?
So because I'm going through the medical board processing.
Can you say that again? Medical what?
The medical evaluation board processing. So it's like it's for retirement purposes because I'm also very close to being 20 years in service. It's a win type of process. So if I get 30% through the medical board evaluation, I can choose to just retire normally, which will just be a regular retirement of 20 years. But if I get a higher percentage in the medical board processing, which can be 50% or higher, then I'll just get medically retired, which I can also file in conjunction with the VA. But if I don't get the 50% or higher, which I only retire just the 20 years in service, I cannot file with the VA because then I'll be getting paid federally.
Okay, now Ms. Cortez, I know that was a lot. And for those people that don't have any military experience, well, let me ask you this. Do you have any applications pending at this time?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. What applications do you have pending?
It's the medical evaluation board.
What would be the ruling that you're seeking through the medical to be medically retired?
What I'm looking for is for a 50% or higher.
Okay. And what has to be determined for you to get a 50% or higher?
It has to go through the Texas Military Department. It has to go through them. It has to go through their Surgeon General is what we call them, which is the highest doctor in the military. It has to go through them, and they're the ones that evaluate my packet and determine what will be the percentage rating that I will be retired in.
Is it some sort of a disability type of application through the VA?
Yes, ma'am. It's considered a MST.
And what is your basis for submitting that request for the medical retired application process?
Can you restate that question? I think I got it, but
okay.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So what's your basis for filing that application?
So
Well, let me rephrase. Are you disabled in any way?
I am.
Okay. And who has determined that you have been disabled?
The Surgeon General, when I got my letter saying I'm going through the medical evaluation board,
And what was the finding of your disability?
they ruled it as mental health.
When was the last time you received any form of income?
Through the military, I want to say it was in October, and the only reason why I got paid was because if there was an accrued debt. So while I'm still in service, I still have to pay for the SGLI, which is the life insurance. In July, I didn't receive a pay, August or September. So those 3 months, I accrued a debt. So in October, when they did their yearly for the FY, they calculated that, hey, I had a debt. In order to clear that debt, they had to pay me and then restart the process all over again. But not the process for the medical board, but for my drilling for points.
So at this time, you've cleared your debt,
Yes,
so you're not receiving any income?
correct.
And do you have any other sources of income besides the military?
No, ma'am.
Are you the head of your household, ma'am?
No.
And how many people live in your household?
So it'd be myself, my husband, and my 3 kids.
Who's the person in your household that's responsible for paying the bills in your house?
My husband.
At this time, do you believe it would be appropriate for the court to calculate child support based on minimum wage guidelines?
No,
Why is that?
because I really am not receiving any money at the moment.
Ma'am, but you understand you do have another child that doesn't live with you, correct?
Correct.
And at this time, she's in high school.
Yes.
When does she graduate high school?
She's supposed to graduate next year around June timeframe.
And next year, 2025?
Correct.
Yes.
If I can go ahead and offer State's Exhibit A, which is a updated payment record, there was one attached with the pleading itself, pursuant to the Texas Family Code. I would like to have that updated payment record offered and admitted into evidence.
I'm going to admit this as State's Exhibit A.
So this is a financial activity report in your case since the beginning of 2015. You understand that?
Yes.
So I'm going to go all the way to direct you to the very last page. So ma'am, at this time, in fact, you don't owe anything. You're not behind in child support. Is that right?
Correct.
In fact, you actually, you are in future pay $470.87. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You're asking the court to make a finding and confirm that you paid ahead the $470.87 as of January 16, 2024, correct? Judge, I pass this witness.
Okay. Ms. Mitchell, do you have any questions for your client?
Not at this time, Your Honor. I'll call her on direct.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, do you have any questions you want Ms. Cortez to answer?
Not at this moment, ma'am.
Okay. You may call your next witness, Ms. Villarreal.
Thank you. I'll call Mr. Martinez.
Yes,
And sir, what's your relationship to the child in this suit?
I'm the father
Who does the child primarily reside with?
with me.
Sir, you heard me question Ms. Cortez regarding the financial activity report. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this time, in fact, Ms. Cortez has paid ahead of her current obligation. Is that right?
From what I hear, yes.
Okay. And so you're okay with the judge confirming and finding that Ms. Cortez has paid ahead $470.87 as of January 16, 2024. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, you are aware that Ms. Cortez did gave birth to a child, right?
Yes.
Now, regarding the Ms. Cortez's testimony, what do you believe the child support calculation should be based off of?
We can go based off the, I guess, minimum wage.
And and just to confirm, has Ms. Cortez given you anything directly
No, ma'am.
for support? Okay. And earlier you agreed that Ms. Cortez would apply for the TRICARE benefit for your daughter. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You believe that's in the best interest of your daughter?
I think it's a good insurance. It's just the way it works. It has to be closer to the military base, and we are nowhere close to military base. Some places take TRICARE, some other places don't. Like, it's hard to find a place.
But at this time, you understand that Ms. Cortez would have the obligation to enroll the child in the TRICARE program.
Yes.
Judge, I pass this witness.
Ms. Mitchell, do you have any questions for Mr. Martinez?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have any other witnesses, Ms. Villarreal?
No, Judge.
Miss Cortez, have you gotten a chance to view Exhibit A dash Cortez? And Your Honor, may I please share my screen?
You may do so.
So that document is letting me know that I'm going through the medical evaluation board, or that I've been accepted into the medical evaluation board process.
Okay, is this correspondence from the Army?
Correct.
I will admit that as NCP's Exhibit A.
Miss Cortez, in this communication from the Army, did they find that you were not able to continue your service there in the Army? Is that the reason why you started with this medical board process?
That is correct.
Okay. And I know earlier you testified that they said that there was some mental disability, correct?
Correct.
You did not have this mental disability. Would you continue working with the Army?
Of course.
Okay. And then earlier you testified you had not gotten paid in July, August, September, but that you did get a payment in October.
Correct.
Do you anticipate that you will get any future payments in the next few months to cover any child support that is ordered?
No.
Okay. The medical board process, did they tell you how long that process would take?
Yes.
How long is it going to
So it would take 2 years after you have been accepted. So the first year, when the paperwork started back in June of 2021. That was the initial. However, because of so many soldiers going through the process, some of us get pushed to the left. So in 22, that's when a civilian, which would be government employee, that reached out to me in July of 2022, and he was telling me that he would keep in contact with me, reach out to me every 3 months. Well, a whole year went by, and he told me, that's when he's the one who submitted that letter over to me that was finally accepted. And he said, from here, starting July of this year, which was this past year of 23, it will take you a whole entire year to hear something back, i.e., they either they would already have a percentage ready for you, or they're going to be requesting more medical documents from you. He was like, you also have to keep appointments. He was, I'm gonna set you up appointments with the VA. Make sure you keep all your appointments. Don't miss any of your appointments. And then once that 1 year, which will be this year in July, I will know either I have a percentage or I have to submit more paperwork, one or the other, because that's when I hit 2 year mark.
Okay, so from this point, you don't expect to receive any payment at least until July from the Army?
Correct.
Okay. Are you able to get any other type of work during this time?
No.
Okay. Do you have any other type of income that you could use to pay any child support that's ordered?
No.
Okay. And are you asking the court to either lower your child support or just flat out zero it out at this point until you're able to get a determination?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Villarreal, do you have any questions for Ms. Cortez?
Yes, Judge. Ms. Cortez, you mentioned that you had started the process back in 2021, correct?
Correct.
And so you said that, in your words, you were pushed to the left. Does that mean
Yeah.
you were denied?
No. So it was, my packet got submitted somehow, some way. It didn't make it to the right people. So that's what we just say. It just got pushed to the left, kept getting pushed to the left. It finally made it to the right person, which was Mr. Benito Guajardo, and he was the one who reached out to me.
Now, Ms. Cortez, you were still working in 2021, correct?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, you mentioned that you're not able to obtain any work. Why?
Because it actually is going to hurt me at the end through
In
the
which way?
military. They're going to see that I am unfit for work and it's just gonna put me in a whole bind.
I'm sorry, there's no permanent hold? What does that mean?
No, it's put me in a whole bind. Like it's
Do you mean through your application process?
okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Would working affect your application?
Yes.
In which way?
So I have to be very flexible at the moment, right? I do have to meet all of my appointments. Like I mentioned before, I have an appointment once a week. I have another appointment once every 2 weeks. Then I also have to meet with groups twice a week. Right now, I'm actually this week and next week off postpartum. But I actually start back up again.
Now, Ms. Cortez, let me ask you this. So how long are your appointments?
Well, I've been at them for the past year.
Typically, how long is one appointment?
I'm looking at an hour.
Okay, and how long are your meetings with your groups?
Those are 2 hours.
Okay. So say you said you had one appointment a week, so that's an hour, and then you meet twice with your group. That's
Yes.
another additional 4 hours. So five out of the whole entire week. Are you able to find a part-time job, or even full-time work to get minimum wage?
No, because I also have 2 other kids that I still have to take care of.
Now, Ms. Cortez, your decision to submit this application for medical retired is not an obligation. Is that right?
It is.
Yet you can still retire and receive your benefits without submitting the medical retire application, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you would still get your benefits whether you submit the application or not.
Correct. However, I wouldn't be able to file
Objection,
anything
Your
with the
Honor,
VA.
non-responsive after correct.
Sustained. Please just listen closely to the questions and answer what's being asked.
And ma'am, you understand you still have a duty to support your child in this suit at Araceli, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Pass this witness, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Martinez, do you have any questions for Ms. Cortez to answer?
No, ma'am, not at this moment.
Ms. Mitchell, do you have any further questions for her?
Yes, Miss Cortez, why are you seeking benefits, I guess, through this medical board process as opposed to just retiring?
Because then I'll be able to file through the VA and actually still be seen through the VA. And I don't have to worry about what they consider double dipping, where if I'm getting paid through the regular retirement and I have to pay that money back. So yeah, it's a mess.
All right, Your Honor, I pass this witness back.
Does anyone have any further questions for Ms. Cortez?
No, Judge.
Mr. Martinez, you don't have an attorney. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Not at this moment, ma'am.
Judge, we filed this suit for modification and motion to confirm arrearage back in June of this year. Ms. Cortez still has an obligation to support this child, Judge. Whether Ms. Cortez wants to submit her application for medical retiree for the benefits, I understand that, but in the end, I don't believe that warrants a downward modification to 0. Judge, if I believe public policy even we want the best interest of the child, Judge. So we do determine guidelines based on minimum wage when someone is not working, but yet have the capability to work. At this time, I don't believe Ms. Cortez has shown that she is incapable of work. I understand mental health, it is a huge issue, Judge, but in the end, we are still talking about a minor child. That child has needs, and I completely understand that Ms. Cortez is also taking care of her family in a different city, and she gave birth 2 weeks ago, a few weeks ago, and at this time, the state is asking that the court consider calculating child support based on minimum wage, and obviously giving Ms. Cortez credit for the additional child that was just born throughout the pendency of this case. Also, the state is also asking the court to make appropriate findings regarding the future pay that Ms. Cortez has made in this case to give her that credit. And with that, Judge, I have nothing further.
So, Your Honor, in this situation where a surgeon has determined that Miss Cortez is unfit to actually work and has actually received a letter to say that she's not, I guess, medically able to do the job that she's been doing. She's not just choosing voluntarily not to work. She's not able to work at this point. And she's not getting paid. And so in this situation, I believe Miss Cortez, this is warranted for a downward mod, at least to 0 at this time until she's able to receive benefits and money to actually pay in order child support amount. She doesn't have any money to pay. She doesn't have any money to pay going forward after whatever amounts are applied to child support going forward. In the past, she has paid, she has worked. At this point, she can't work. And so she's just asking for it to be modified at this time to 0.
And Mr. Martinez, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I have one question to her lawyer. Like, I'm sorry, I just get nervous. So I really don't know how to speak right.
Just,
But
just say what you're thinking, so there's no right way or wrong way to say
I'm
anything.
sorry.
Just don't use bad words.
No, man. To her lawyer, like, she's being provided by the military, or is it coming out of her pocket?
You can ask the question to Miss Cortez.
So my husband actually paid for her.
Okay. My question is because the child support that is being paid right now is $179 a month, right? Me missing work, I'm losing more money just spending time here than actually what the child support is. So I just want to get this over with. Like, if we can just go with the minimum wage evaluation, and then we can go ahead and get this over with.
Okay, first part of this is pretty easy. I'm going to find that Miss Cortez is in future pay. I believe the number was $470.87 as of January 16th, 2024. So I'm going to make that finding. I'm going to modify with regard to insurance to clarify that the insurance is through TRICARE as opposed to another source. And it's being provided through Miss Cortez through TRICARE. And this wasn't said, but I'm assuming it's $0. Okay.
No,
What-
yes. What is it, $275 a month? And that's for the family plan?
Let me back out of making my ruling and let's get some testimony on that issue.
Miss Cortez, so how many people are enrolled in the TRICARE program?
So it'd be my husband, myself, my kids right now. The baby will be enrolled in the future, so it'd be 4, and then Chelly.
How much does it cost just for Araceli?
It's a family plan, basically, the 275.
Yeah. Is there an additional cost to add any additional children to that family plan?
It would be, but that's when we add the baby.
So there is a specific amount for just Araceli.
Yes,
Right, don't you have to add the baby within like 30 days or something? Like it's coming
yes,
fast. Okay, this
Yes.
isn't a long-term add the baby. It's like a soon add the baby.
yes.
Okay.
Now, how much does it cost just for you, ma'am?
The insurance just for me?
Yes.
What do you mean?
How much do you have to pay just for yourself, for your enrollment?
For my enrollment? What is it? Yeah, it's
And
the
Your
first.
Honor, I'm going to object to any other person talking to Ms. Cortez or giving her any type of answer to the question.
I'm going to sustain that objection. Ms. Cortez, you're testifying as if you were live in a courtroom. And so you wouldn't be able to turn to people in the courtroom to get answers. So please just
Sorry
answer
about
to the
that.
best of your ability. If you need a
Um,
moment to go get documents to look at, to refresh your recollection, that's fine.
So let's say if it's just me, no family, nobody, just me, I'm looking at paying $75 a month for just
Okay.
myself.
Is there a set cost for you to add your husband, just you and your husband without any children?
Yes, so we're looking at 125, just
Okay.
me and my husband,
How much was it for you and your husband?
125.
And then at this time, you only have 3 children enrolled. Is that right?
Yes,
So it would be around $50 per child.
yes.
As this witness, Judge.
Ms. Mitchell, do you have anything further?
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
What kind of insurance did you have at the time of the last order, ma'am?
The same one, TRICARE Reserve Select.
Okay, your last order said it was free, and I thought TRICARE usually was free. Did they change that?
No, so it only applies for active duty.
Okay,
And at the time when they did the modification, my husband was still considered active duty. So yes, it was under TRICARE, just TRICARE Prime. But when he came back from deployment, we switched over again to TRICARE Reserve Select, because while you're in the National Guard or reserves, you're not authorized to have TRICARE Prime. So there's co-pays also with TRICARE Reserve Select.
So again, I'm going to make the finding in my ruling that Ms. Cortez is paid ahead by the $470.87 based on section 154.123 of the Family Code. I'm not even sure this is a variance, but the other factors I can look at when looking at income, I'm not going to find that she's incapable of working. And I am going to set child support at minimum wage. Technically, this does not qualify for a modification because it's not 20% or $100. It sounded like everyone was in agreement, though, to make the small adjustment to account for the new child and the health insurance premium. That would get this child support to $163 a month. So if everyone's in agreement to that, I would set it at $163 each month. This can be reviewed again once the determination comes down, because it sounds like things will change then. Mr. Martinez, are you agreeable to adjusting the support to account for the additional child and the health insurance premium?
Your other children or other people that are living with you, those have nothing to do with your case. That's something you're buying into when you decide to live with the other person. They have their own parent, and that parent needs to support those children. That has nothing to do with this case that we have here today.
Yes, ma'am, I agree to it.
Okay, and Ms. Villarreal?
Yes, Judge, I have no objection to that.
Okay, so I will modify the child support to $163 a month, beginning February 1st of 2024. I'm going to modify the insurance such that Miss Cortez is providing insurance through TRICARE at a monthly rate of $50 each month for RSLE. And some of the additional factors I'm considering, just to have this on the record, the age and needs of the child, financial resources available for the support of the child, whether the obligor or obligee has an automobile, housing, or other benefits furnished by another person. Those are the primary provisions I'm relying on. The Attorney General's office is going to draft the order based on my ruling today, and they'll send it to y'all through DocuSign to review and to sign up on.
Thank you, Judge. The only other thing, Judge, that I didn't mention, if the judge could just make a ruling, is the court costs associated to filing the suit.
I'm going to waive the court costs.
Yes, Judge, thank you. May the parties be excused to their breakout rooms, Judge?
Yes, everyone can be excused to your breakout rooms, and thank you all.
It's gonna hurt you. So I don't see anything
How
unreasonable.
is it? What do you mean specifically, like hurt me? Like,
Because if we don't have wage information, we set it at minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. As
no,
if,
man, he's an oil field worker. He works for
right,
his
that's
uncle.
why we're trying to get the information. It's gonna hurt you because we're gonna set it at minimum wage.
No, a mí no me,
You're gonna
a
go
mi
for-
niña no le conviene eso.
Then there's your answer.